Live stream is on. Kia ora everybody, welcome to the Community and Regulatory Committee meeting for the 10th of March. A big welcome to those in the room, councillors, your worship, council staff and those joining us in the room. Nice to see you, as well as those joining us on live stream. Kia ora, welcome. We will jump into things. Apologies, item 1 on the agenda. I've got apologies from Councillor Ludlow and Councillor Stewart. Any other apologies to note? Your worship, Mick Campbell. Oh, you want to move those? Awesome, thank you. Would someone like to second those? Thanks, Councillor Crackett. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Next up, declaration of interest. Anything in the agenda that needs to be noted today as an interest? No? Okay, moving on, thank you. Up next, public forum. I'd like to welcome Boyd Wilson from Southern Sports Car Club to present today. Good on you, Boyd. Yeah, come on up.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. We've got around 10 minutes for this,
Sure.
Boyd. That usually includes questions. Just a reminder that questions that will be directed to Boyd. Questions for staff can come later. Item number 10 in the relevant report. So, floor is yours, Boyd.
Thank you very much. For those who I haven't met before, my name is Boyd Wilson, and I'm here today in the capacity of a member of the Southern Sports Car Club. Thank you. I've read the paper before you today, and just wanted to give you a little bit more of a background on the Southern Sports Car Club, where we're at, and what we're trying to achieve, really. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome.
I do have not enough, but I'll leave these here to distribute amongst you at an appropriate time. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview, as I said, about the club itself, the Southern Sports Car Club, and its management of Tiratonga Park, which is the oldest permanent racing circuit in New Zealand. And I guess its history, the current usage of the facility, its financial status, and the future plans that the club have for the facility. The club itself was established in 1948, and in 1957, with the support of the local council, land at Sandy Point was secured to create the park itself. The members have been instrumental in building and continuously developing this world-class facility, which has FIA status to run international events. The track utilisation, Tiratonga Park is actively used not only for the 12 events hosted by the Southern Sports Car Club, which include circuit racing and club sport, but also by numerous other organisations. These users include Southern Dragways, Motorcycle Club, Advanced Driving School, Southern Triathlon Club, the Burt Munro Challenge, and many others. And I have a full list of those, which I won't run through, but in total, about 80% of the usage of the facility is actually by others other than the Southern Sports Car Club. So it's frequently used by a number of other organisations. As Rex appropriately pointed out in his report to the councillors, the financial status of the club is in decline. It's not dire by any means, but it's time to recognise that change needs to happen. And as you can see in the graphs in your report, the nest egg is somewhat declining. And I guess, which is great, is that this is mainly dependent on the maintenance that's required to the facility to keep it up to its FIA standard, and that we are maintaining a 70 hectare lease area of the park, which requires significant maintenance, which is currently 100% being covered by the Southern Sports Car Club. So it's financially challenging. Just for reference, you may or may not be aware that there was a race meeting in January called the Next Gen meeting, which had all the future Formula One stars out there running around. Has put Southern on an international stage. As part of us hosting that race meeting, Next Gen required certain upgrading to the facilities, which cost us $90,000 to host an event that we gained $30,000 from. So we run a net loss for that one activity of $60,000. So it is challenging, but the club did hold a special meeting where all members acknowledged that despite we are still very much currently solvent, the financial model is unsustainable long term, primarily due to the costly track maintenance eroding into the cash reserves. The members of the club support exploring growth options to ensure the club's viability for the next 75 years, aiming for self-sufficiency without reliance on grants. Plans for development leverage of the facility, primarily because of its unique location and its current status. Tiratonga is unique in the country in that it can operate for pretty much every day of the year because of its unique location on Sandy Point not being surrounded by residential activity. So all other tracks within New Zealand have a very stringent operational constraints on them and noise constraints as well. So Tiratonga is unique in that, and I think something worth protecting. So we're looking at how the land could be better utilised to create other forms of revenue which help fund the track and the other upgrades and things that we're wanting to do. So through that, we've established a working party to look at options and ideas to do that, and through that, the establishment of a master plan for now into the future, which will be a staged development. I guess we need to work in partnership with council, a real big positive, and I must say that the club have had senior staff over the last couple of years have been absolutely fantastic and extremely positive towards what we're trying to achieve. The Southland Sports Car Club has requested that council reduce the lease payments that it currently provides to the Invercargill City Council, and ideally put this on hold until a more sustainable financial model is found for the club. The proposed lease of $24,000 is a significant sum of money for a club that's losing on average $60,000 a year without any ongoing significant maintenance. So I'd really like council to consider significantly reducing that, or ideally waiving that until such time as working alongside council in partnership to create the ultimate plan for Tiratonga to give it another 75 years of life. The Southland Sports Car Club fully supports and endorses the point made in Mr Capel's recommendation to the Community and Regulatory Committee that a partnership is formed between the Southland Sports Car Community, or Club, and the Invercargill City Council to assist us in formulating this plan to, as I say, make Tiratonga survive for the next 75 years.
Awesome. Hey, really appreciate you being here with us today. Boyd, any questions, councillors? Your Worship, Mick Campbell?
Thank you, Boyd. You may not be able to answer this, or you may not wish to answer it, and that's okay. But I'm interested in the sort of profile of your reserves gradually decreasing over the last 10 years. And 10 years ago, it was 700,000, basically. Where did that come from? I mean, had it been built up over the previous 40 years, or was there a big cash injection that, has it been losing money for a much longer period, but you got a cash injection to take you up to that? And that's what I'm trying to understand.
There were, I guess when motorsport was perhaps generating more sponsorship, it was easier to generate larger sums of money. So the sponsorship with motorsport has declined. So the income therefore per annum has declined. And what happened with the cash reserves was a significant upgrade was required to the track, which significantly ate into that. And you'll see the graph, it goes along with a slight loss and then there's a huge basically bite into that capital reserve. So that's primarily with our playing surface, for better description, which is the asphalt track, is that it has a limited lifespan and it's getting close to its end of life. So it was built up over years and we're now eroding into it, unfortunately.
Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Cricket.
Thank you, Chair. Boyd, do you have any idea of how much it costs you to maintain the 70 hectares of reserve per year?
Well, the total income for the organisation with fees that it receives from the usage of the track does fall short by 60,000 if we don't have major upgrades. So, but we employ 2 full-time staff out there, and one of them is permanently, effectively, the caretaker of the facility. So that's mowing. So other than the equipment that's associated with that, there's a salary. So I would have estimated probably just the maintenance of the facility without any upgrades or just to keep it to the current standards, probably at least $120,000 a year.
Okay, any further questions, councillors? Okay, hey, thanks again for your time. Really appreciate you being here on behalf of the Sports Car Club, Boyd, and good insight as we head into the report further on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. And I've just left here for your use, and I believe the Mayor has seen the President of the club, and it has got a copy of that. There's numerous copies of our strategic plan, which gives an idea of what we're trying to achieve, and some of the capital costs that we're challenged with going forward, which primarily is a full resurface of the track.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, just to be confirmed, minutes of the Community and Regulatory Committee meeting held on Tuesday the 17th of February. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Someone happy to move those? Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Dermody. All those in favour, say aye. Okay, next up, to be received, minutes of the Creative Community Scheme Invercargill Fund Committee meeting held on Thursday the 19th of February. Questions or comments?
I'll move those.
Okay, thanks Councillor Boyle. Someone like to second those? Awesome, thank you Mayor Campbell. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up, minutes of the Community Wellbeing Fund Appointments Committee meeting held on Monday the 23rd of February to be received.
I'm happy to move.
Happy to move those, Councillor De Vries. Awesome, I'm happy to second those. Yes, I can second those. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up, minutes of the District Licensing Committee, February 2026 to be received. Happy to move those. Councillor Bond, thank you. Councillor De Vries, seconded. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, next up, we have application for grant funding for the 2026 Invercargill Licensing Trust Learn to Swim program at Splash Palace. Extremely successful to date. Steve is here to present, so I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you and good afternoon, Chair, Mayor and Councillors. I will take this report as read. I just do want to highlight that this is a standout community program coming into its 19th year, and it wouldn't really be possible without the funding of the ILT and the ILT Foundation, as well as the partnership with ICC with its subsidy on entry fees. I'll open it up for questions.
Any questions, councillors? Okay. Any comments or discussion points, councillors? Okay. 2 recommendations there. Number 1, receives a report application for grant funding for the 2026 Invercargill Licensing Trust Learn to Swim program at Splash Palace, and then resolve that the Aquatic Services Manager is delegated authority to apply to the ILT and ILT Foundation for grant funding of the amount noted. Would someone like to move those? Councillor Boyle, thank you. Seconded, Toe McNaughton. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Steve. That was painless. Keep that up today. Okay, next up, commercial use of parks and reserves policy. Kia ora, team. I'll hand it over to you.
Good afternoon. I'll
sure you all had a good look at the policy, and thank you for your workshop attendance this morning and support. So this policy it's confirmation of what we current practice, but actually in policy format, and it's enabling us to work with clarity in a framework when others wish to make commercial use of our reserves, exclusive use or that commercial use. And I mean, you'll be aware of some of the most excellent events we've held on reserves in the recent past. This policy is just enabling us to codify what we do and continue and hopefully generate more interest in use of our reserves.
If I could just add to that, first of all, just my apologies that the wrong version of the policy was uploaded to board books. You received a slightly earlier version, but you should have now received a paper copy of the correct version. And also noting in regards to consultation on this policy, we are recommending that it is consulted on alongside fees and charges. And as part of that consultation, we are planning targeted engagement with the Chamber of Commerce and local businesses, probably in the form of targeted communications to them, and specifically those known current users, commercial users of the parks and reserves.
Okay, great, thank you. Just because we are looking to adopt or recommend to council to adopt this, because we've received an e-version and we've now got this, what are we looking at in terms of material difference with the one we've just been handed versus the one that we read?
They are very minor differences. So Hannah might be able to say specifically what they are, but they are minor.
They're minor. The policy that you received in paper form is really just focusing on the commercial users of the parks and reserves and clarifying, as Caroline's already said, just the current practice and codifying what we currently do. But there aren't many. Yeah, there's not many material differences, but again, it's the focus on commercial users, which is what we really wanted to achieve with this policy.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Dermody?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just wondering, do we have a map that makes the public aware of where we prefer these commercial activities to occur in the park, so that they're not sort of creating, they want to have an event here, but it's never going to be able to be held there? And secondly, health and safety, I note, that's a requirement. Do we have a sort of a health and safety plan that, or give a guidance document gives them some idea around what they should be including in their plan? I'm thinking about people that are coming to town and might not be as familiar with the park as we are, and the first question, and then secondly, probably, for smaller community events that may not have the resourcing to be able to prepare health and safety plans, if we can be, have some assistance, and we will know the risks and dangers in the park to some degree. So just those two questions, please.
Absolutely. I mean, generally when we have a major event organiser coming to us, they know exactly where they would like to go. And once they've actually indicated that they'd like to book, we will work with them on an individual basis to work through exactly what they're looking for and seeing whether we can make it possible. We're trying to enable them to do so. So we don't generally decline bookings, but we'll work through with them what they're trying to achieve and make sure it's the right space for that. With regards to health and safety, the bookings are made through a bookable system, and it works you through the health and safety requirements of each space, which can be, and it's scalable to the size of the event. If it does become quite a sizable event, again, we'll work through with them to work out the specifics of that.
Great, thank you. Councillor Boyle, you've got a question.
Just a comment, sorry. I'd just like to congratulate you on your openness to accepting events into the park, which you must sort of think, how will it go? And I'm particularly referring to the Gin Festival that was held recently, an outstanding celebration of what the park can be. And it's had amazing, across the country, amazing reviews. So well done for taking a risk, some stepping outside.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor De Vries.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I absolutely understand the intent around fully commercial activity and events that are similar to the distilled event that Councillor Boyle refers to. What I'm thinking about is the unintended consequences of having a policy like this and how it impacts existing users that are already, have a lease on our parks and reserves, so sports clubs, selling alcohol or holding an event, etc., do they have to apply for a
So
consent or?
those organisations that already have a lease, this isn't specific to that lease. The leases are negotiated separately. This isn't referring to that. So it's where it's primarily where an event are looking for exclusive use of a space or actually looking to make commercial gains. So it's not necessarily. I don't think that actually covers the question that you're making. I think we're talking about two different areas.
Okay, well, that's fine if there's two different things. Just can I ask a supplementary? So if there is an event being held in the park and there are commercial users selling market toys or food or anything like that, and they are operating as part of an event, making a profit, are they liable for a separate charge for each vendor, or is it just for the overall event?
The ones that I could speak to already, it's been an event charge. So the event organiser would understand what that charge would be for the space and how they then on-charge that, as it were, to the separate organisations that are working with them. That would be up to them to decide.
Okay. Councillor Bond.
Thanks, Caroline. And I'm just wondering about the policy here, the one that we're just handed before the meeting. And it's really good. I'm just wondering, where was some of this information taken from? Were there other events around the countries and parks and councils that we've kind of glossed over a little bit to make sure that ours is fit for purpose?
I'm going to say Hannah was a great author here. She's looked at multiple different councils around the country and what they're currently doing alongside what we currently do and tailoring them together. Would you like to add to that, Hannah?
No, that's pretty much yes, right. I try to cast the net very wide and see what best practices around the country, bearing in mind that obviously Invercargill is maybe a little earlier on in the journey of being a big event host, so just making it work, as Caroline said, to fit what we currently do and really reflect that, whilst borrowing is probably the best word, from best practice around the country.
Great. Just confirming, Councillor Tom McNaughton, your question was just answered. Awesome. So I'll come to you, Mayor Campbell.
Okay. I would just, I'm absolutely happy with the policy, no problem. I'm just looking at the wording of the resolutions. And the recommendation 2 is that this committee approves the draft commercial use of parks and reserves policy. And then it goes on to say, recommends to council to adopt the policy. Just seems to me to be some confusion between approves and adopts. This is a new policy, and it has to go to council for approval, is my understanding. So it's not actually approved by this committee, and I just wonder about the wording, because if I find it confusing, then it may be found confusing later.
Yeah, great point. Rex, do you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Mayor. Could I suggest we could look at recommendation 2 to endorse the draft commercial use, and then recommend to council to adopt, if we change that to endorse?
Yeah, do we need to move that change? Someone happy to second that?
Yes.
Councillor Dermody?
Oh.
Well, I don't think it's on the table yet, is it? So you don't need any.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just get.
Okay. Awesome. Any further questions? I think I can look at this and focus on one-off events or kind of semi-regular activity. Just confirming that it does look to cover long-term lease activity.
Long-term leases are covered under a lease agreement.
Okay.
So, which is a separate agreement
Okay,
to
cool.
this. This would be if a long-term commercial activity wished to occur, that would cover it.
Oh, yes, sorry, that was probably my point, right? I was thinking
Yeah.
of Bluff Hill, for example, any future activity that might happen on Bluff Hill. This is within the scope of...
Yeah. For example,
Okay.
if somebody wished to, on a long-term basis, provide a guiding experience on Bluff Hill,
Right.
that would be something that we would consider through this policy.
Awesome. Thank you for that clarity. Okay. Nothing further? Oh, Councillor Crackett?
I wasn't sure about asking this one, but I will. But all commercial activities, photographers, videographers, every time they enter the park, every time they fly a drone, do they have to book through Bookable, or they can't walk down the street and take a simple photograph now?
Drones are separate.
Yeah.
So there is a separate drone policy to this. However, as part of our engagement, we are going to canvass photographers, because if they are specifically advertising use of our reserves for commercial gain, perhaps that's something we'd like to talk to them about. But we are going to go out for consultation and hopefully receive feedback from the sector on that to understand what they would see is appropriate.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about instances where if you've got someone like Great South or local businesses that are using our regional parks and assets to go out to look at, to try to encourage people to move here to Invercargill, is that then the photographer's responsibility and cost to bear, or is that the users to bear, or we're just trying to get the
Great
balance
question.
of that right? Will be interesting.
Yeah. Great question, and hopefully something that will come through the consultation so we do get the balance correct.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions. Awesome, thanks Caroline and Hannah for that. Just noting that change, we've got 3 recommendations there: to receive the report, to endorse the draft policy, and then to recommend to council to adopt the draft policy. Is someone happy to move all 3 of those? Councillor Dermody, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Arnold. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Great, thank you very much. Okay, moving on now to the Southland Sports Car Club request for support by way of a partnership approach. Rex, you're going
You want me to stay here? Or do you want me to go down the end?
to... you can stay there, that's fine. Keep me company up here.
Thank you. If I could just perhaps provide a brief context and then open it up for obviously questions and then comments. I just want to reinforce the public forum speaker Boyd's comments, and as a representative of the Southland Sports Car Club, the relationship is extremely positive between council and council staff and the club. I've met with them on numerous occasions. Mr. Day and I have met with them with respect to potential other development opportunities going forward. And I know our staff at that transactional operational level also work closely with them. So, and this has come about as a result of developing that relationship and building that and working that into a partnership approach. And obviously through Public Forum Board endorsing the final recommendation with regards to continuing that process of partnership is critical for not just the immediate short-term future, but the medium to long-term future from a city's perspective and from obviously from a sports car club's perspective as well. The second thing I would like to perhaps just give some context to is with respect to the work that has gone on to get us to this point. So there was the lease arrangement is a 7-year lease. It came up for renewal in 2024. There's been this conversation going on over that period of time, and it got to a point where I made the call that I thought it was something that needed to be discussed at this table, at your table, and that it was outside the gambit of what was to be seen to be reasonable for a staff or from an operational point of view to actually make this, because this is a bigger conversation, I believe, than just the number in terms of what number we're talking about, the rent. It's actually a philosophical and opportunity for you as a council to provide direction going forward. To that point, my recommendation with respect to the options available to you as a council or you as a committee to determine where you want to go, my recommendation is based purely on a conservative staff approach of trying to fit with the direction that we have been provided by you as our elected members, as our governance, in terms of looking at the ability to diversify and maximise revenue from user groups, looking at what the market valuation, and I have in the report recognised that there, in my view, I have some sympathy and empathy for the club in terms of how we determine what the market valuation is or how it is determined, but I made the point that it is done through an independent market, independent valuer, and that we take their advice through that, and that's something again that I didn't believe should sit with staff with respect to going outside of that. The critical thing from a looking forward perspective is, I think it's really important we recognise partnership is critical going forward, and it's what we need to do in the immediate future to support a club like the Southland Sports Car Club to maintain and retain its viability going forward, because as we know from other critical community assets that exist across our city, council generally is the last entity standing, and so that if the club comes to the point where it is no longer able to sustain or be financially viable, generally it will be looking to council for having another conversation. And I think it's critical that we are seeing this in that light, and your decision can factor into those considerations as we go forward. And I think that probably that's where I can leave it and answer any questions, and also listen to the comments going forward.
Awesome. We'll start with some questions. Mayor Campbell.
Thank you. Rex, my question is about the paragraph at the top of page 3 in your report, the one beginning, however, the bigger picture. When I read that, and absolutely agreed with the sentiment in it, I was then later disappointed to see that you had not included an option which was included in that paragraph, which was to look at a short to medium term rent waiver. And I mean, more about it in discussion, but just, quickly, if you look at the top half dozen sports facilities in the city, and, ILT, Splash Palace, City Park, Rugby Park and Teretonga, all of the others are substantially supported by community funds. Teretonga, we actually take money from them. And if you look at the history, the decline in their funds isn't that much different than how much money we are taking from them. So, it's many big questions. So my question to you, Rex, was, I guess, why did you not include that as one of the options?
Chair, a good point and good question, and I thank you for raising it. It's probably under option 3 where I left it open around offering the club a status quo or reduced rental per annum option that could be teased out if that was the wish of the committee. I didn't want to necessarily lead or direct to that point, but I do take your point, and it could have been and should have been perhaps more explicit in an option, a specific option based on the narrative in the earlier part of the report. But I would suggest that if that is the wish today, then we can adapt that option 3 to support that around the status quo or waiver in that particular part, and add that into a resolution based on that which I've compared.
Yeah, it's an important piece of that conversation. Councillor Crackett, question.
First question that I had, if I can find it again, was, does anybody have any idea, and this is probably more of a question for you, Caroline, how much if it would cost us to maintain the grounds, even just the grounds themselves, if we were to find ourselves in a position like Oredi Sands where we have to take it back over again?
Come and answer that, Caroline. Thank you.
The quick answer, Councillor Crackett, is no. It's not it's not a valuation that we've done as yet to understand that. Sorry, so that's not an option I can give you just now.
Are you able to give me an idea of how much Oredi Sands itself we started to have to continue to pay in the maintaining of that?
No, because the Oredi Sands itself, it's become absorbed into the current workload that we already had, so that's become an add-on into our current resources. So it's a pressure rather than a calculation there.
Sorry, further question. Thank you. If that was to happen, say, would Teretonga then become like Oredi Sands and would just let to be run into the reserve again? And
I would suggest that we're becoming a part of our LTP bids to actually demonstrate the operational cost of doing so.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Doherty.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Do we have any similar type arrangements? And I'm thinking, say, the golf club at Queen's Park you know, in terms of a lease and how that might shape or, yeah.
Just stay there.
Yes, we have a lease arrangement with the golf club at Queen's Park. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch the rest of your question,
Yeah,
Councillor.
so like what the motor club's proposing here around the partnership, is that, you know, is it similar to what we would have with the park? The golf course.
We work closely with all of the clubs and associations that we lease with, but in terms of a partnership financially in this regard, it's not one that we currently model.
Can I just perhaps add to that as well, in terms of that, and correct me here, Caroline, if I haven't got it right, but in terms of how, for argument's sake, the golf club operate, you know, they look after their grounds, they maintain that themselves at their cost. I mean, and that's part of the understanding of the lease. If the lease was for us to Councillor Crackett's point, actually maintain this, then that would be added to the lease as a cost to the club instead of, because again, someone has to pay that. And currently the clubs do that, but that's obviously taken into consideration as part of the lease arrangements.
Also, thanks, Rex. Cheers, Councillor Dermody had the same question, but I guess it's almost a precedent question. Is there any other examples of models of partnership that are happening anywhere else in the country that might help guide us in this decision? Because it's relatively void of examples for me as I read through it. So is there anything there that can help support?
Are you talking specifically about motorsport?
Well, if there's an example that is motorsport, great, but just precedent around this partnership type model that we're essentially deciding on.
Carolyn can jump in here too, but I think there's multiple examples of council community user groups of council reserves in council reserve space that operate in partnership. Not all of those are in regards to financial partnerships or financial. I mean, they would be. Yeah, it's. I suppose it varies on to the point of the club. It varies on the viability and financial situation of a club versus what they're generating from that use of the reserve as well as part of their lease arrangements. So it's really a horses for courses.
Do we have a motorsport example?
I know Christchurch City Council have a relationship with, I can't remember the name of the guy, I'm not a motorsport person, so Ruapuna.
Yeah.
And there are also a couple of obviously privately run motorsport facilities around the country as well, which would have a different relationship obviously again. But I know Christchurch City Council and Ruapuna are working currently in partnership and looking at what the development opportunities and options look like going forward, with the council being quite a significant investor, or potentially quite a significant investor, as I understand it, as Southland Sports Car Club members have relayed to me.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Rex. Councillor Boyle.
Sorry, raising Rugby Park, what's the relationship there about the leases and things? Is there a lease, or is it partnership, or what's the current practice?
With respect to the Rugby Park, there's historical agreements still in place from going back to when council took responsibility for that facility with entities like the Supporters Club. There is also arrangements or agreements in place but directly with Rugby South, and with respect to them having to relocate because of the unsuitability of the space, etc. And they are historical and roll over as a result of the agreement going back to 2016.
So, further question, please, if I may. So, do they not pay lease for that?
They pay for the use of the facility when they use it.
So, for 5 times or 8 times a year?
No, lot more than that. There are a number of games that are played on, just like rugby league are playing on it now. There is a fees and charges component of that you approve as a council that determines the fees and charges for the use of that ground for any users of that stadium.
Sorry, I am going to ask another question, if I may. So specifically for rugby, when we were told perhaps there's 8 games a year as a maximum played on there, do they pay for that use at that time?
Yes.
But no other, they don't pay anything else?
As a user of a council facility, they are like any other user that would follow our fees and charge structure for the use of the facility.
Okay, still on questions. Did I miss you? Councillor De Vries, I missed you earlier.
Thank you, Chair. Have we quantified the value that kind of motorsport brings to the economy? I don't think that's been covered in here. So.
The club hasn't been able to provide us any economic impact information. I know many years ago, when I worked at Venture Southland, there was economic impact reports done, but they would need to be redone, in terms of the economic impact. That's one of the club's suggested benefits, obviously, with the international and national linkage to the events that they operate, or are able to operate out of that facility. But there hasn't been a current or recent economic impact study done. But I do know that around the dates that we talk about, that I talk about in the report, accommodation is pretty difficult to find in Invercargill over those weekends of those meetings, which would suggest there's a direct correlation. And then obviously around the hospitality and benefits associated with that as well. But I don't have that provided. That would be something I believe from a partnership approach we would be looking to encourage as part of the next stage of the proposal going forward. I think it's a very valid point.
Can I ask a supplementary question to that? Because is the expectation, and perhaps this should have been a question in public forum, and I apologise if so, but is that the expectation of partnership from the Motorsport Club, is that we are supporting them to drive more events that helps lift their revenue, or has anything been discussed around what partnership actually looks like for them?
Nothing specific, and certainly, there is a finite envelope of motorsport events that occur around the country. They obviously fit within a national program of events as well. So unless they were going to create something new or specific to Teretonga, the event circuit is pretty well planned over the next 5 to 10 years, I'd imagine, nationally and even internationally. So in terms of new events, I think one of the other things that Boyd did mention was, the Sports Car Club are really only 20% users of their facility. It's used, and they're able to hire it out for the likes of driver training courses, the likes of the police, the likes of the Burt Munro, the drag race, etc., that is there. So again, they're a guardian of a wider community, an asset that is benefiting the wider community than just the club. And I think that's a critical point as well, that obviously isn't factored into any market rental valuation that's done purely on a land type thing. So, and that's, I think, the critical thing, Councillor De Vries, is those are the sorts of things that will be teased out and be able to be managed and developed together in this as we develop the partnership. So it's sort of moving from the relationship to partnership concept.
Okay, still on questions. Councillor Cracker, you had a question?
Oh,
You want to leave it until discussion?
Moved into a discussion.
Okay, Councillor Dermody, you had a question? Okay. Councillor Pottinger, question?
Yeah, well, Councillor De Vries has opened the door on this one, and I can't really understand why we haven't done that research on the value that this asset brings to the city, because how can we move forward with a partnership when we don't have that? And I'm trying to understand that. I mean, I could say right now from my own observations, wow, You can tell the vehicles that come to town and everything. So it's not that hard, but I can't understand why there isn't an inclusion paragraphs in here stating that, because that really is the driving force for a partnership. We don't want to lose it. We don't want to turn back into a Reedy Sands type material. We don't want that, because we all know how valuable, it's a very high priced sport. So I just can't understand. I'm asking why that emphasis wasn't put in this report, but we'll make another comment later when comments are due.
I can answer
Do you
that.
want to respond to that one, or?
The information's not available from the club.
Okay. Yeah, tricky, because I probably had model examples and economic impact and just what I would have loved to have seen. We're still in question time though, so Councillor Arnold.
Mine's not really a question, it's more of a comment, so I'll the comments, eh?
Okay. Right, last hope. Councillor Bond, question?
Hey. Okay, so the motorsport industry brings into our country, or the value of it is $1.1 billion. Looking at the gentleman that spoke to us earlier at Public Forum and reading through the report here, and also backing up what Councillor De Vries said, I think that we do need to know what the critical risk is of losing that value of events there, should they be unable to maintain that track. But my concern is if we grant this concessional waiver, one, we don't have enough of a financial scope on their long-term sustainability, and he mentioned that that motorsport sponsorships falling around the country, so they're going for the big wigs, and there's been some great coverage and international stars that are coming down here every year at the next generational format. And these are like future Formula One races. So that the sport's massive. I think that we just need more consideration into the long-term sustainability to this club managing the tracks. So the question is, are we able to request that information from the club?
Chair, I would suggest that would be part of the scope and the brief that we would put together as part of partnering with them as per resolution or recommendation 5. That would determine the scope and the brief of the work that we would need to do. And further to Councillor Pottinger's question, we would add that in as well.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Bond. Got there in the end, thank you. Any questions, further questions? Okay, right, we'll move into discussion. Mayor Campbell. What's that? No, Michael crossed them out. He said we go again.
I've started now.
You're on a clean slate. I'm handing to the mayor.
Once you begin to miss a ball, the referee cannot stop you. So look, I think the people who run this club, deserve a huge amount of credit for having, run it without any support for the past 75 years. But it's clear when you look at their financial situation, they've got a sinking lid, and certainly within the period of the next LTP, I think we're going to find ourselves there's a real risk if we don't intervene in some way that we'll find ourselves in a rugby park situation where we end up having to step in and take over the whole lot. I think it's essential that we continue to have the benefit of those volunteers. Cannot have them walking away. We've got to continue to have the benefit of that. Therefore, I think whatever support we provide, we have to be careful how we do it. I think when there's a real risk of when the city step forward, other people step back. And then, in a few years you find you're carrying the whole thing, and the operating cost is $260,000 a year, according to that. So it's not a small amount. That's why I think we do have to do something. I personally would support an option where we were providing either a waiver or else a very small fee to them. On an ongoing basis, we can continue to talk to them. I'm just very concerned about the word partnership. It just feels like Rugby Park, 15 years ago or something, when we were trying to work up a way for them. So I'm not sure if that's option 3, but personally I would like to see us waiving the fee to show some support immediately, either for 3 or 5 years, probably for 5 years. And in the meantime, we explore what's possible, beyond that. But I'd be very cautious about using the word partnership. That's my view.
So thanks, Mayor Campbell. Councillor Dermody.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Look, I think this is a very valuable asset. And motorsport is best to run this asset, so it's about how we work with them. I'm a little bit cautious about, the partnership. It needs to be structured well and right. Just to talk to the Mayor's comment, I think they're coming to us in good time before they need to, which is, commending of them really. But I think, it's really got to make sure any partnership ensures that motorsport, stays in control of this asset, because they've proven through a number of years that they're really good at doing that. So that's probably my only comment, but it's a very valuable piece of our community and it's well regarded. I think it's the best track in New Zealand, as they refer to it, the motorsport sector, so it's a very good asset.
Thanks, Councillor Dermody. Councillor Cracker.
Thank you, Chair. My line of thinking is much in line with the Mayor's. The $21,000 that we would take off them in revenue, I suppose, in comparison to what we pay for other nationally and regionally significant assets like the stadium, the velodrome, sporting facilities specifically, if we're looking at that are regionally recognised, and in this case nationally recognised, I think is the most nominal amount of money to pay, if you look at it like a contribution, for the significant economic benefit and events and regional benefit that it brings to the city. I did run a couple of calculations because they weren't provided in the report, and if somebody, or if they had 500 people come down for an event and they only spent anywhere between $300 and $600 on 2 nights of accommodation, this is without food, without spending here, that's in the realm of at least $350,000 per weekend. And you look at how many weekends, you look at the span of people being here for a week for Burt Munro, like the economic impact for our city is absolutely undeniable and certainly a lot larger than $21,250. Operationally, like you say, we can find ourselves in a situation with Rugby Park where we no longer have the volunteers that are able to maintain that. And even just in the paper that Boyd has given us, they're projecting to spend at least another $3 million in the next 5 years. So within that peppercorn rate situation, another $3 million to keep rehabilitating that track. So it's not an insignificant amount of money that will be coming from the private sector rather than having to draw on a community funding organisation like ourselves. So I think we can't shy away from that either. If it's one of those assets where if we do lose it, it is gone forever. It's very much like the golf club next door to it, in the sense that you lose your volunteers, you lose your club, you lose your injection, you lose the multi-generational asset that they've got there already. I know it's come up where we've had the conversation around like, well, what kind of lease operation does Queen's Park have, and for the golf club? And I really don't think that they're comparable, because although Queen's Park Golf Club is absolutely significant, it's not of national significance in that you've got repeated, constant event calendars actually drawing people in from a national perspective. And it's a localised club. You've got your residents and we've got our community members here that are members of that club. For this facility, it is of regional significance, national significance, and that the users of that are not only the sports club. Yes, there's a massive amount of community in there as well, but it is actually acting like a tourism attraction in its own right. It equates to about 13 cents per resident a year. And I think all of our residents would probably happily have the 13 cents to be able to facilitate all of the community need that we have as well. So that's my piece. I really support the Mayor, and if we can, I would like to move with the Mayor's support, perhaps, that we receive the report, endorse the, we can strike out, because I don't believe we need recommendation 2, 3 or 4. 5, that we support the concept of them presenting a partnership proposal. Whether or not that needs to remain as partnership, I think the Mayor has his opinion on that. Perhaps it's
Take out the word partnership and just say a proposal.
a proposal, yeah. And a 6th recommendation to be inserted that council endorses a 5-year peppercorn lease.
Yeah, there's still 2 people that need to speak to this, so can we just, process-wise, can we just note that and then continue discussion?
We've got a motion on the floor. That's that.
Noted. We've captured that as the proposed motion that will come forward from Councillor Crackett once the discussion has concluded.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Crackett. Councillor Arnold.
Well, basically, agreeing with what everybody said, I think it's a fantastic asset for the city. And if you look at, you know, the rental proposal, I support Councillor Campbell and his suggestion that we just waive it in the meantime, which then negates the need for number 2 and number 4. And they're proposing that they're going away to present a proposal for consideration by council and other community groups. So it's not just us, there's other people to be consulted and a lot of work to be done to go through. So I support that. We just tie-ho and wish them well, and it's fantastic, a fantastic facility. Yeah, and I think, you know, Councillor Crackett with her got low on the low side, it's a lot higher than that, yeah. So it's a great asset for the city. And we don't want to lose it. If we lose it, it'll never come back, ever.
Thanks, Councillor Arnold. I'll just come to Councillor Pottinger first.
Thanks, Chair. Look, you can't compare this to Rugby Park. You can't compare it to Queen's Park Golf Club. You've got something here that is unique in New Zealand. The noise. I mean, I'm playing golf at Otatara and you're listening to that screaming motor noise down the straight. It's just beautiful, and be anywhere. Mind you, that could just be Duns Road. Yeah, someone hooning out to the beach. But I think we don't need to change anything up there. We just need to drop 2, 3, 4, go with 5, get the partnership sorted, see what they want. We can't dream up what they want. We need to talk to them, the appropriate people here. I don't think we need to put any more words into it. We just go with number 5. Who are going to be the representatives doing the negotiations or this partnership? Who are they? Can I ask, Chair?
Who are the people doing the negotiations around partnership? I imagine staff?
Unless you... But staff is...
Yeah, staff was my
okay,
presumption.
So,
yeah.
Right, and you're going to be dealing with, obviously, the committee from the Sports Car Club. Something will come back, and then we'll go from there. But I think all we need right now is a total endorsement. We are right behind it. And God defend the track, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Pottinger. I think our last one for discussion at this point was Councillor De Vries, and then we'll come to you, Councillor Boyle.
Thank you, Chair. I think it was a hard act to follow because there was a lot of passion in that. And look, I agree with a lot of the comments that have been made around the table today, but I think that, well, I know that I personally campaigned in the election on creating better partnerships around this council table, and so I would really like us to explore what a partnership proposal does look like with community. I don't think that means that we need to... I absolutely understand what Mayor Campbell is saying around it could possibly lead for it to council playing a larger role, and I don't think that is what we want to happen, and I don't believe that is what the Southland Sports Car Club would want to happen either. So I really think that this is a great opportunity for us to feel that out, test it out, and have an understanding of what partnership genuinely looks like between council structures and community organisations. So as it stands, I'm not sure I support the current motion unless partnership is included in recommendation number 5.
Okay, thanks, Councillor De Vries. Councillor Boyle.
I totally support the Mayor's comment. I would not like this to be considered as a partnership. Sorry, Councillor De Vries. I really believe that these people who are the minders of our Teretonga area, the Sports Car Club have done an outstanding job, and they've come to us. I think we should look at what proposal we could put together. We certainly need to endorse and support them, and they've come asking for a time to reflect and develop, and that's what I really support.
Thanks, Councillor Boyle. Councillor Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to comment on Councillor De Vries's comment and pick up on that. And one of the things moving into this campaign time was that there was a lack of trust of this council in our community. And there were questions and call for, like, why are we not partnershiping up with our community so we actually know who we're meant to be here as custodians for. So I totally actually support the word partnership inside of recommendation number 5, because it shows quite explicitly that we're prepared to listen and support and make some really hard decisions when we have to. We can't go into this without also recognising that the Southern Sports Car Club have run some pretty phenomenal events. They've indicated what their financial stresses have been, and they've been talking with our staff about what their proposal could look like in the future. So I totally support recommendation 1. I'd like to see an amendment of the word partnership added into recommendation 5 and get rid of the rest. I do think that we perhaps do need to plan a timeline on how long we're going to give them a supplementary waiver of their lease reduction. Do we want to be sitting here in 7 years' time looking at some major great events that are helping them with, downturn that financial stress and still waivering the lease? So, it's not a get out of jail free card. I do think there needs to be an expectation of a timeline of that reduction in lease put forward.
Thanks, Councillor Bond. Anything else for discussion? Good discussion, team. Anything else? Okay, I'll probably need to circle back to Councillor Crackett for that proposed motion.
So, running through it again, we are happy to receive the report. We are deleting 2 and 3. Oh, and sorry, would be 4 as well, wasn't it? Yeah. With the Mayor's permission as the seconder, perhaps it could say partnership or proposal. I think
I'm not going to dead issue with partnership. If you want to leave partnership, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Well, then we will retain that, and we will add in an additional recommendation number 6 to waive the lease fees, or to provide. Is it the terminology actually a peppercorn lease? Yeah, peppercorn rent, or however you'd like to structure it, but to waive the lease fees for no more than 5 years before we review it. And obviously that gives significant time for them to hopefully improve their bottom line, but also demonstrate the investment that they're making into the track, and most certainly have something in arrangement with a proposal and partnership to us.
Can we ask questions?
Get a little bit clearer. Does the word waive in that situation? Because what we mean is not charge. We don't mean accumulate, right? So is there any concern by staff that the word waive is easily misunderstood?
Sorry, Chair. I thought
I
thought that we were going to 5 covers 6 already, because wouldn't 6 be part of one of the proposals that may come back? So why are we including that now? That's my question. I don't think it's technically right or process right. When we say 5...
It's been moved and seconded.
Been moved and seconded.
So right, we have to vote.
Yeah, we're going to need to vote, right? Yeah. So Mr. Day.
Thank you through yourself, Chair. Before Council goes into a voting, we need to provide advice in relation to the impacts in relation to item 5. So I'll hand over to my GM of Finance.
Okay. Thank you.
So I just want to make Council aware that by waiving this rental, you have effectively reduced your revenue by $21,000 a year, which will have an impact on rates at a time which we are looking at making sure it's a user pays perspective. You're giving this user free rental. It is in the paper that if there was a waiver, there would be a rates impact. But I just wanted to bring that to the surface.
Yeah.
Find it elsewhere.
Good. What was that? Sorry, Your Worship?
I'm sorry. I was going to say we can find the money elsewhere.
May I, as the mover?
Okay. We're still on discussion on that before we vote, so I need to go to Councillor Bond.
I just wanted to ask a question to the recommendation 6. With the 5-year, before we review that lease, a lot can happen in business in 3 years. I just think the 5 years is too long. It needs to be reviewed. I mean, we're effectively putting this on to the next council as well to review for us. So I'm a bit, it makes me a little bit anxious about that 5 year.
Okay.
Through you, Chair, the term of the lease is actually 7 years. And so you're providing a resolution here which is informing that, but the lease will be maintained for 7. It'll be a 7-year lease that they go into. It's what you charge for that has been provided by recommendation 6 currently.
Okay. Any further questions or comments on the motion as it is? Councillor Ponga.
Yes, we are going to vote on them individually, 1, 5 and 6 individually.
You're requesting that they're individually?
Yes, please.
Yep. Anything more? Otherwise, I'll hand it back to Councillor Cricket. Awesome. Councillor Cricket, do you want to
Yep,
comment on that?
I'm happy to separate them because I had moved and seconded them with the Mayor as a block. Hearing Councillor Pottinger, we'll take 1 and 2 together and then separate the 6. Can I do that?
Just, sorry, can we move up
Chair
that?
decides what is going.
Can we move up the screen just so I can make sure? Okay, so it will just be one at a time. So recommendation number 1 receives the report. We'll vote on that now. Or someone. Cool. It's been moved and seconded. Yep. Cool. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Those against. Carried. Okay, we'll move forward to recommendation number 5. It's on your screen. Just take some time to read that. Make sure you're happy. It's been moved and seconded, so we'll have our vote. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Councillor Ponga, against?
No, sorry.
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, last one. Recommendation number 6, to waive the lease fees for no more than 5 years before council reviews the lease. All those in favour, say aye.
Sorry, the wording, just a second. For no more than means it could be 1.
Yes.
But that isn't what we're saying. We're saying for 5 years. And we're waiving it for up to 5 years. Isn't it? When you say for no more than, that doesn't actually mean 5, does it? That means that it could be 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, Councillor Cricket, you.
Yep. The Mayor clearly understands our intent, so you're quite right. We'll say for up to. I think that was everybody's understanding.
Okay, recommendation number 6, the change has been made for up to 5 years before review. All those in favour?
Aye.
Sorry, Chair. Just given you've made that wording amendment, you'll just need to get the mover and seconder. I know they were in the conversation, but just for the record to actually validate that they want that amendment
Okay,
made.
happy to confirm, Councillor Cricket and Mayor Campbell, that's the wording you'd like. Awesome. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye. Yeah. Rex, could you clarify what we're...
I was just going to make a point that council will be reviewing the lease in 7 years. It's a 7-year lease. So resolution 6 there talks about waiving lease fees for up to 5 years. It's not whether before council reviews the lease. Council will be reviewing the lease in 7 years.
So as the mover, you believe, perhaps we should just end it at council to waive the lease fees for up to 5 years. Dot.
I had written down a recommended resolution which was to agree a rent waive for 5 years to 30 June 2031.
That in there, yes.
Okay, it's nice and clear, let's do that.
That's what I'd written down as...
Excellent.
That's why I asked the question.
I mean, look, through you, Chair, I think it's pretty clear that we're all on the same page as to what we're trying to achieve here. It's just getting to the words.
I know, but we know that wording is crucial, right? So, and once we lock it, I apologise for process, guys.
It's to waive the
let's get it
rent
right.
fees. No, not for up to. It's to waive the rent fees for 5 years to 30th of June 2031.
Okay, thanks, Rex. Right, it has been moved and seconded. Any other comments or discussion points on that before we vote?
There's one comment, because we had the word waive, which means exterminate. We have reduce, which means something completely different.
Reduce is the wrong word. To remove. I think it was remove.
To waive? To waive the fees.
You're right, Councillor Pottinger. Reduce, there's ambiguity with reduce.
Reduce
So,
could be down to 20,000.
100%. Yep. So,
To zero. No, it says to reduce the rent fees to zero.
to zero.
Yeah.
Shivers. Okay. Wave could have done it, but to reduce the rent fees to zero for 5 years up to June.
Just to June.
Okay, well, it's up to there, right? So we'll take out the up. And mover and seconder, are you happy with that wording?
Yes.
Any further discussion? We're about to lock it in, potentially. We're going. Okay, all those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, do you want that noted? Councillor Dermody, Councillor De Vries, Councillor Toe McNaughton, Councillor Pottinger, and Councillor Bond.
Have to make a cut.
That was,
Have to do a count.
yeah, division. Okay, so all those in favour of recommendation 6, raise your hand. We'll do a count. Count myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those against, raise your hand.
Casting vote, Chair.
We're by one, right? It was, okay, cool. Motion is carried. Okay, done. I knew I wouldn't got to get out scot-free. Thanks, team. Okay, moving on to Unua, Museum of Southland Progress Report. Nick and Eloise, nice to see you today. Thanks for joining us, particularly through that. Awesome. I'll throw to you to speak to the report.
Excellent, thank you. Afternoon, everyone. We'll take the report as read, but just a few things that we'll touch on. Overall construction is progressing incredibly well, with Nader Love still well on track for September this year. Site works, again, we managed to get a good start of that prior to Christmas, and the weather's been reasonably kind during the week. So again, that's it's well on track. The next piece of work around that is the integration of the parks, which again is due to start shortly. A big focus for the project in the last few months has really been shifted from the physical construction more into the experience fit out and operations. So that is since the last time we reported in December, we have put in place a secondary project control group, so one that is focusing on construction and one that is focusing on the experience and operations, and that has been in place since the start of the year. And progressing incredibly well. The Gibson contract was signed in late December, and again they are progressing well with the story of Southland. With relation to overall status report, there is a couple of areas in amber, but the team are working pretty closely with the contractors and suppliers, and we're pretty confident at the moment that those are still tracking in the right direction. Budget-wise, no change to the last time we reported to, which would have been council. Everything to date is currently tracking within the budgets allocated. And I think that's probably enough from me.
Awesome.
Take questions, or unless
Eloise?
I think happy to take questions at this point.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for the report. It made things nice and clear. Any questions for Nick or Eloise from the council? Okay, no questions, any comments for discussion? Councillor Dermody.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a comment. Really good report. Nick, I know we asked you prior to Christmas just to make sure you're on point with that. So thank you for that and the team. And well done to everyone for getting to this point. Still plenty of work to go on, but we're doing really well. So well done.
Awesome. Anything else, councillors? Okay, there are 2 recommendations there. Receive the report and note the project status, budget and key program risks. Can I have someone move those? Thanks, Councillor Boyle. Someone second, Councillor Toe McNaughton. Any further discussion? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate the report and the update. Awesome. Next up, we've got an Invercargill City Youth Council 2026 inaugural report. I'd like to welcome Tyler and Fletcher, our co-chairs for the Youth Council 2026 moving forward. Well done. Congratulations on election. I'll hand it over to you to present your report. Looking forward to hearing it.
Good afternoon, Mayor and councillors. I'm Tyler, and I'm a third-term youth councillor and a Year 13 at Southland Girls. A fun fact about me is that I'm travelling to Sri Lanka in July for a 2-week sea turtle conservation project with my best friend, which is super exciting. I'll hand it over to Fletcher.
Kia ora, I'm Fletcher and I'm a first-term youth councillor and a Year 12 at James Arcus College. A fun fact about me is I was the editor for our school's Creative Writing and Arts magazine last year.
Right.
So this year, Youth Council has decided to move forward with a 2-year term, which we believe offers greater opportunity for civics education and greater continuity and the ability to form stronger relationships and further confidence. During orientation day, we started with getting to know each other, which provides a valuable opportunity to learn about each other, to better work together. We moved to team building activities. We particularly liked Councillor De Vries's and Councillor Broad's cahoots. They were quite good. And the Queen's Park 35 Shuffle. We discussed the different voting systems and we made a preference for STV over FPP. It was a unanimous decision. We believe it greater reflects the general opinion of the group and eventuates in a solution that everyone is happy with. I'd like to thank Mayor Campbell for attending and presenting our badges at the first meeting. I personally appreciated you talking about, encouraging youth council members to bring issues to council. We believe that shows a great level of understanding and appreciation for the purpose and principles of Youth Council. During our first meeting, Thomas Lewis, a staff member of the Invercargill City Council, came to our meeting to talk about people and culture. We appreciated learning about the employee life cycle, which provides invaluable learning opportunities for members. And I'll hand that over to you.
Cool. This year we've talked a lot about how we're super excited to, for everybody to meet new people through our new Youth Council, and especially with that 2-year term being able to continue our partnerships as well. And we've had lots of discussion around social media as one of our key focuses for the year and wanting to amp up our presence. There's another youth council, Napier? Yeah, Napier Youth Council has quite a few followers on Instagram. So we are hoping to beat them, and we've sort of decided to focus our content on sort of humorous, engaging content that's civics focused and civics related, as well as obviously an up-to-date of what's going on with Youth Council, and hopefully we'll get some more interest and some more engagement throughout the community. We also have a new What's Hot at Council section on our agenda, which Councillor Broad and Councillor De Vries sort of will answer to, so we can have an update of what you guys are doing, and yeah, it sounds cool saying What's Hot at Council.
Keeps us young, yeah, we like it.
It sounds more exciting, right? And we've also been trialling the use of the Totara room in Invercargill Central for our informal meetings, which is actually, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's quite nice in there. Yeah, don't know what you think. But yeah, that's our update, I guess, obviously you've read our report as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, good stuff. Good report, and well done on your presentation today. How are the nerves?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. Same. Great job. You should be very proud. You answered my question around why STV is your voting system for your chairs. So any questions or comments, councillors, for the Youth Council? Councillor De Vries?
This one for me. Hi, guys. Yeah, just like Councillor Broad has said, a great report. Really well done coming in here and speaking to us. I know that you felt a bit nervous coming into this, but you did great. You've talked about your social media and how you're looking at kind of increasing your following and helping inform your community, the young community, about civics education. And we've talked about how kind of we come from this council into Youth Council and tell you what's happening up at this table, but how do you guys go back into your schools or to your own community spaces and report back on the stuff that you do at Youth Council?
So for me personally, in my role as a prefect at Girls High, I do I'm always advocating for Youth Council in our prefect meetings. I'll be like, oh, we're doing this. So I think keeping everyone's involved in sports, everyone's involved in all sorts, editor of the school magazine, etc. So we all are just out there spreading the word and updating everybody on what Youth Council is doing in our own ways. And then obviously any events, any workshops, things that we're hosting like that, we look to speaking in our assemblies as the easiest way to get a big group of people and spread the information. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Councillor Bond.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, like the others have said, great report. It's really nice to see the passion that you bring into the roles that you have on Youth Council. I just wanted to know a wee bit more about this new thing called What's Hot. What is that going to do?
So essentially, it's just a renaming and we've sort of restructured our agenda for this year and our term as chairs. And so we've renamed it as What's Hot at Council, and what it is Councillor Broad and Councillor De Vries just giving us an update, really. It's pretty straightforward, to the point. No dance presentations or anything exciting yet. No.
We've only just begun.
Yeah. But yeah, just an update of anything that you've talked about specifically that would interest youth or us in general. Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. Did you hear something, Councillor Cricket, or no?
What were some of your ideas for Queen's Park with the new elements you were talking about?
So we didn't really have anything to bring to Council about that quite yet. We're happy to go to Youth Council and discuss that and come back to you with some suggestions.
Okay, anything further, councillors? Awesome. Tyler and Fletcher, well done. I appreciate you making the time to come and present your report. Keep up the good work, yeah? We've got one recommendation on the table, councillors. Receive the report from the Youth Council 2026. Councillor De Vries is moving that. Councillor Dermody is seconding. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, that is us for the public session of the committee meeting today. Thank you to those that have joined us in the room and on live stream. Appreciate it. Would someone like to move us into public excluded for the reasons outlined in the agenda? Councillor Crackett's going to move. Councillor Dermody seconding. All those in favour, say aye.